Is Sergio Perez going to be replaced? Sergio Perez has been underperforming this season. Will he be replaced by Red Bull? Perez has had a bit of a rough season so far. He's been outpaced by his teammate Max Verstappen on a regular basis, and he's even crashed out of a few races. As a result, there's been a lot of speculation that Red Bull might be looking to replace him. In this video, we are going to take a look at all the evidence and try to figure out what's most likely to happen. So stay tuned. Perez has had a mixed season in 2023. He's won 2 races, but he's also been off the pace of his teammate, Max Verstappen, on a number of occasions. He's also been struggling to qualify well, and he's been involved in a few costly accidents. As a result of his recent form, there have been rumors that Perez could be replaced at Red Bull. It seems like the team is getting tired of dealing with his inconsistency. Fortunately, their internal issues from the first 5 races of the season are now resolved, but Perez is no longer a threat to Max Verstappen's championship hopes. Other teams have also improved quickly, making it a more competitive season. Red Bull might be considering finding a replacement for Perez, possibly someone like Liam Lawson. Christian Horner's recent statement about the New Zealander hints at this possibility. It appears that Perez may have exhausted his chances to prove himself. The Suzuka race was forgettable for Perez, but Red Bull had reason to celebrate as they secured the Constructors' Championship on their home turf. Since the start of the 2022 technical era, Perez and Verstappen have had some exciting battles in the first few races, with both winning a couple of times and having a close 6-point difference in the Drivers' Championship. However, Perez's performance took a significant downturn after the Miami race, to the point where he is now at risk of being replaced mid-season. Horner, the team principal, has consistently supported his second driver and made it clear that Daniel Ricciardo signing with AlphaTauri is a way for the Australian to have a real chance at the Red Bull seat starting in 2025. However, this discussion happened before Liam Lawson's F1 debut, and what a debut it was. Lawson earned 2 points in the first 4 races and secured 11th place finishes in Monza and Suzuka, even outperforming his teammate Yuki Tsunoda on several occasions. It seemed like Lawson could have been an ideal replacement for Ricciardo. And now AlphaTauri has already confirmed their lineup for the 2024 season with Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo. This means that Lawson might be exploring other options. Currently, it appears that Perez has a contract with Red Bull for 2024, but all signs suggest that he's likely to be replaced for the 2025 season as well. Red Bull has now realized a significant risk. They could potentially lose the promising talent of Liam Lawson, who might sign with Williams in the next year and commit his career to a different project. This situation is reminiscent of what Oscar Piastri did to Alpine in 2022. It's reasonable to assume that Lawson would prefer to be Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull rather than drive for a team like Williams, which is currently ranked 7th in the Constructors' Championship. It's important to realize that Liam Lawson isn't aiming to be Red Bull's reserve driver in 2024. With only 1 seat left, he's determined to do everything possible to secure it. When discussing his future plans, Lawson mentioned that he wouldn't be thrilled to go back to a reserve role, but he understands how tough it can be to break into Formula One. He hasn't dwelled too much on these matters and is focused on making the most of his current opportunities. Lawson also acknowledged that even before his debut with AlphaTauri, he knew it would be nearly impossible to land a seat with either AlphaTauri or Red Bull in 2024. This is particularly true for Red Bull, given Sergio Perez's renewed contract last year. Contractual situations can be tricky in Formula One, as we've seen with Perez's previous involvement with Racing Point and Ricciardo's move to McLaren after a contract buyout. Tensions between Perez and Verstappen have been simmering since their clash at the Sao Paulo race last year. While Red Bull is likely wary of risking their current situation, they must also consider their long-term future. Liam Lawson is just 21 years old, but has already shown his skills. He made it to the Q3 qualifying session in Singapore, outperforming both Verstappen and Perez. Throughout the 2023 season, he consistently finished as the highest-placed AlphaTauri driver and often hovered around the points in positions 11 and higher. With a bit more luck, he could have accumulated even more points. Even Christian Horner, who typically has high expectations for Red Bull's rookies, has taken notice of Lawson's performance. In the past, Red Bull has been tough on newcomers like Albon and Gasly, who aim to prove themselves as championship contenders after starting with Toro Rosso. However, Lawson's potential might be a rare opportunity that doesn't come along too often. It's worth noting that Albon and Gasly had their chances during a period when Red Bull's consistency and speed were questionable, especially compared to the dominant Mercedes era. In contrast, in 2023, Red Bull has been the dominant team on the grid, thanks in large part to Verstappen's exceptional performance, giving them a significant lead in the championship. Compared to the second-place team in the Constructor Championship, Mercedes, Sergio Perez is currently holding a rather slim 33-point lead over Lewis Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship, securing second place. This situation is far from ideal for Red Bull, especially considering that Perez's teammate, Max Verstappen, has pretty much dominated the 2023 season, winning almost every race except for 3. With McLaren showing improved performance and Lando Norris issuing strong warnings that they are closing in on Red Bull, the Austrian team might need to take action sooner than expected. Christian Horner's recent statement indicates that they are seriously considering Liam Lawson for a more prominent role. When discussing Lawson, Horner had nothing but praise for the young driver. However, in an interview about the Williams seat, some important information slipped out regarding Lawson's future. Horner explained that all of these drivers are effectively Red Bull drivers, even though they are currently placed at AlphaTauri. He believes that Daniel Ricciardo, with his experience and motivation, will bring valuable leadership and serve as a benchmark for the team. Yuki Tsunoda has been making progress and will benefit from having Ricciardo as a benchmark. Horner also hinted that it's only a matter of time before Lawson gets a full-time opportunity. Red Bull Racing aims to have the best 2 available drivers, and the competition within the group is strong, including Pierre Gasly. The current hot seat is generating a lot of interest, and Red Bull is eager to extend their options. They're keeping a close eye on how Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda perform, while also quietly observing Liam Lawson's capabilities in a test and reserve role. However, it's clear that Liam isn't keen on remaining in a reserve role, and if Red Bull doesn't pay more attention to him, he might be considering a move to Williams. This is something that James Vowles, a key figure, has mentioned. Williams could be interested in exploring this opportunity further. Christian Horner responded to these discussions, and his response is quite intriguing. He believes that Williams is unlikely to sign Liam Lawson because they aren't in the market for a 1-year contract driver to replace their current driver, George Russell. This suggests that Red Bull may already have plans in place for Lawson in the 2025 season. But will Red Bull's potential plans for Lawson in 2025 be too late compared to what Williams is offering Sargent? Lawson has been performing better in the first 4 races, while Sargent has been a costly driver for his team, racking up around $3 million in repair costs. He's also the only driver this season who has raced in every event without earning any points. In contrast, Lawson had an impressive 4-race streak. This might explain why Williams is eager to pair a competitive driver with Albon, who has been responsible for all of Williams's 21 points and has been carrying the team to 7th place in the Constructors' Championship. It's clear that Lawson is determined to race in 2024, and there's a risk of losing him to Williams or even Mercedes. Red Bull might need to act sooner rather than later to prevent that from happening. They could make a move similar to what Racing Point did with Perez back in 2020, completing a full cycle in Perez's career. So, is Sergio Perez going to be replaced? It's too early to say for sure. He's safe for 2024, but if he doesn't improve his form in the next year, Red Bull could look to replace him for 2025.